What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Friday morning as we're about to work our way into the weekend. Now that we don't have to focus on this system that was really cranking up yesterday as far as that tornado threat, the winter weather part of this is moving off the coast of the eastern U.S., and we don't really have to worry about it anymore. We can now start to focus on our next weather maker, which the models are really agreeing that something is going to happen. You're going to have cold air working around. There's going to be some kind of boundary that sets up, and we're going to have another significant storm system. Now, who sees what? We're not sure, but we're going to really briefly go over the latest model guidance, and then we're going to get much more in depth about this tonight, about as in depth as we can this far out, and break down what's going on. But this is going to impact maybe some of the same areas that's been impacted by these last two systems that's really impacted the middle part of the country, the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. But there is time for this to trend either way, so we're going to figure it out. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button, like the video if you like it. Follow me on my social media links over here. It's a great way to stay up to date with the latest and greatest information. I appreciate all you guys tuning in this morning. Hope you're having a great morning. I think everybody likes Friday morning, so I'm sure everybody's a lot more positive this morning than maybe they were Monday morning. But if you guys got anything I can pray about, please put in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over them. It gives others an opportunity to do so too, so we all can look out for one another and glorify God here. So let's get going. First off, we'll start off with the basics, and this is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. So this is the 23rd through the 27th. Much below average temperatures are now being predicted. You know, you're in this 70 to 80, 80 to 90% range of chances of there being below average temperatures. Now you see the southeast ridge is flexing over here, but what I'm about to show you here with the next 8 to 14 day range, these below average temperatures begin to kind of ink into the eastern U.S. a little bit. You match this with the precipitation looks, and now you have an above average chance of precipitation. And you can obviously tell there's a boundary setting up. So above average chances of precipitation in this region. At the same time, you have below average temperatures predicted in that same kind of range. That tells me there's going to be some kind of maybe an Arctic boundary where low pressures can ride here, and it's going to create an opportunity for a winter storm and maybe even a flooding situation for the warm side. Then you go to the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. This takes us all the way through March 3rd. Still chances of below average temperatures. So I know a lot of folks were warm yesterday. A lot of folks are going to be warm today, but you know, we're not to spring yet. We're not to the point where we see consistently warm temperatures, but we're getting there for any warm weather fans. I know I'm kind of, if we're getting into February and we're not going to get any winter weather, I know part of me just kind of wants to go on and move to that, definitely that much more warmer weather. But here we go. I want to show you this real quick, and then we'll take a look at what everybody really wants to see, and that's what the models are showing as far as winter weather. So I want to show you, this is the European. This is getting into early next week. Here comes another Arctic boundary, and I'll show the whole entire eastern U.S. as a whole here in a second. But this shows the Arctic boundary that could set up next week. So this is around Tuesday morning of next week. Look at this into the, I'll go on and stop it right here. 80s reaching all the way into Dallas, Texas here. And then you have this Arctic boundary. I mean, this isn't nothing unusual. It happens a lot. It's happened a couple times this year. It just happened a couple days ago. Warm air surging up. You got mid 90s showing up in South Texas, right? And then up here in Kansas, you're stuck in the 20s for highs. So this is an Arctic boundary, Arctic front that sags south. Where does this stall out? Now we get into our Wednesday. This is in Wednesday morning, and look at this big time Arctic boundary. So highs maybe, as far as Wednesday morning, low temperatures maybe into the 30s, the teens, into the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma. And then you're waking up to the 70s in southern sections of Texas. So big time Arctic boundary sets up. This looks incredible right here. This is 141 hours out, pretty far out, but this is an incredible gradient setting up here. And, there's pretty big time model agreement that something's going to happen here. There's going to be an Arctic boundary that sets up, but this is crazy. This is crazy looking. It's nothing unusual for this area of the country. This happens quite often, a couple times a year. But, this is some big time Arctic here. We keep this moving here forward. And I mean, this is for overnight next Thursday into Friday morning with winter precipitation actually right here in this area. Single digits dropping almost all the way down to Texas. This is nothing set in stone, but it looks like some Arctic air is going to dip down as we're getting into our latter part of February. As far as the eastern U.S. as a whole, we're trying to figure out, and we got a lot of time to figure this out. We're getting into midweek next week. Where does this Arctic boundary set up here? So This is around Thursday evening of next week. You have a cold front, and I really think the southeast is going to be very warm next week, especially the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Alabama. It's really going to feel like spring. The weeds are going to start popping up in your yard, those late spring weeds, and your grass is going to start to green up a little bit. But we're not done with winter. We aren't. So we're going to see how this Arctic boundary trends. Does it leak a little bit more southeast? Does it make it into the southeast? Does these high temperatures showing up for next week into the 70s that you're looking at your apps and it's showing highs in the 70s, pushing almost 80 depending on where you are in the southeast? Do they trend cooler or do they stay the same? We're going to have to figure that out. But as far as what the winter weather part of this looks like, I mean, check this out. This is the European. First off, big time high pressure settles in. Cold front drops in with even a little bit of moisture involved. And as just like with any Arctic air mass, as these Arctic air mass sags south, low pressures have the tendency to develop sometimes, and it happens as we're getting into our what time frame? This should be about early to midweek. So this is around Tuesday evening. A low pressure develops, maybe a little bit too warm for any frozen precipitation for areas like Chicago, maybe Detroit, but a big wintry mess for areas like Wisconsin and the northern Great Lakes area. But nothing set in stone. Nothing is at all. This would be a big southeast Canadian storm. And then as the cold air continues to leak south and come south, then you have more cold air south. So you're getting into Wednesday afternoon, and then here comes a big winter storm showing up for Texas, Oklahoma, areas like Arkansas, and then it re-amps itself and another low pressure forms, and then you just have a big wintry mess as we're waking up next Thursday morning. This is, like I said, 6 days out. It's pretty far out. So moving forward here, this looks like a pretty substantial winter storm stretching from Texas all the way through the Ohio Valley, including all states in between. Now, where does this low pressure track? How does this Arctic air trend? Does it suppress this low pressure more south, or areas like Kentucky, Tennessee, maybe areas of the western mid-south, deep south start to get into some of this winter weather? I think someone's going to have some flood issues with this. We're trying to figure out how this is going to trend. You compare this to the GFS, which actually came in a little bit less amped up as far as a low pressure, but regardless, it shows this Arctic air mass dipping down here into areas of the south central U.S., the Midwest, and the north central U.S., where I think y'all will be downright frigid. But Friday afternoon shows already a little bit of moisture popping up here with the boundary setting up here. This puts a little bit of maybe freezing rain into Dallas, wintry mix for areas into the Ohio Valley. And then here comes another area of a low pressure pops up here. But how amplified is this? How robust is this? Is this a big moisture storm? I think it's going to be. I'm leaning towards the Euro. I really do. But there's going to be a flood threat for the warm side of this also. So we'll have to see where this boundary sets up. Right now, it looks like what Model Guidance is showing now is that you're going to have some kind of jet dive right here, and it's going to buckle a little bit. So the southeast ridge is going to be nudging in here. So I really think there's a chance for some warm air advection to get wrapped up into here. Therefore, you might have someone that sees a big time ice storm as you're getting into the late week. Specifics on timing, we're not quite there, but timing is actually really well this far out. It's really liking the idea of this cranking up overnight Wednesday into Thursday into Friday. And then the GFS really likes the idea of a pretty impactful northeast winter storm and just storm in general. Is there going to be any severe weather with this? I don't see it yet. But if this Arctic air trends more north, meaning it doesn't dive as deep south, then we can have a low pressure that scoots up much more north, can advect that moist air into the eastern U.S. and the Gulf states. Therefore, you might have some kind of severe weather threat. But same deal, Canadian. This is kind of the beginning event. It shows a big winter event for areas of this. For areas of early this coming week. This could leak into Chicago, but it looks like rain at first. Low pressure rides through. Cold air begins to sag south. Another low pressure develops. Then you have a wintry mess as more cold air links into the storm here, and then really gets going. I don't know why I'm struggling with the word link and leak. But anyways, it shows this frozen precipitation very far south, and the Canadian has it all the way into western Tennessee, deep into Arkansas, deep into Texas, gets it into Kentucky. Specifics, we're just not there. We're not even close to there, guys. But there is very big time model agreement that there's going to be some kind of storm system next week, and pretty substantially good agreement based off how crazy these models can be with going back and forth. So we're going to try to figure this out. That's all I got. We'll get a much more detailed video and breakdown of what's putting all this together tonight. So stay tuned for that. Y'all have a good day.